Salam and good evening to you, Muslims of the world. We are back once again with another analysis and breakdown of the Quran of the Muslims. Yes, we'll be breaking this thing down verse by verse once again into factual, logical statements in English so we can understand who or what is Allah Akbar. What does he mean by the contents of his book, and more importantly for us non-believers, how does this affect us in our lives today? So before I start, as I always do, I'm going to tell you now, if you have any doubts as to my factual accuracy or you wish to question the things I will say, please first read one of these, translate an Arabic Quran, not an English one because it's not the same, buy an Arabic one, translate it and read it, and having done so you'll recognise every single word I'm about to say to you now is 100% true of the words of Allah and what Muslims believe today. So, if you've been keeping up with the series and you saw the last one, you'll remember that Allah has been cracking the whip and then using a carrot to try and entice his Muslims to follow his command, because he's obviously asking rather a lot of them, go and kill all the non-believers, even if this results in your own death, O Muslims, which it probably will. But don't worry about that, you'll be a martyr, you'll be strong, you'll be considered to be great in the afterlife, and you'll get all the things you want. You've just got to die first by killing those non-believers, and this is the holy jihad, the cause of Allah, the end times genocidal prophecy which your life is the goal of, according to Allah. So with that in mind, let's carry on. 151. Oh, you're going to love this. We shall put terror into the hearts of the non-believers because they did not worship only Allah. They have dared to have other faiths and cultures, even their own kings. They will live forever in the forever fire, in their most evil and unjust place. These infidels will never have peace. End of verse. So, what do you think he means here, O Muslims? Well, let me tell you. For those of you who don't know, we shall put terror into the hearts of the non-believers means, Muslims, you have to be terrorists. That's what a terrorist is. That's why it's terrorist. A terrorist is someone who puts fear into the hearts of people who don't agree with them. So Allah is expressly in the first line of today's page reading telling you, O Muslims, regardless of whether you think it's good or not, you have to be a terrorist. And then other people are going to discriminate and persecute you for this because obviously terrorists are bad. But nonetheless, if you don't want to be burning in evil fire forever and you want Allah to love you and reward you after your death, you have to become a martyr through putting terror into the hearts of everybody else. The reason you're going to do this, O Muslims, is because they dared, they had the gall to not worship only Allah. They had their own cultures, they had their own faiths, they had their own leaders and kings, and this is just not okay, according to Allah. Then he finishes off by saying, they will live in the forever fire, in the most evil and unjust place. Those infidels shall never have peace. But neither will you, because you're constantly going to have to harass and kill them, and that will be your life goal. So technically, Allah, what you really mean is none shall ever have peace. Religion of peace, eh? I don't think so. But let's carry on. That's the end of this verse, and that's what that means. 152. Indeed, Allah guided and cared for you until you stopped killing them, and did dispute advancement for his jihad. He sees where you do disobey, he will destroy what you love. Some love mundane things, but others, they know well to love the hereafter better. Your worry is but a test from Allah. Indeed you are pardoned if you lift your sword for him. Allah owns a wondrous reward to you, O faithful Muslims. End of verse. So if we break that down, he starts off with the word indeed, because he's confirming his previous thing about you should be a terrorist, O Muslim. So how this reads is, you should be a terrorist, none shall ever have peace. Indeed, Allah guided and cared for you until you stopped killing them and you disputed his holy jihad. So, O Muslims, don't have any doubts or questions. Don't think that killing the rest of the world and never having peace yourself, even though Allah's promised it to you, is bad. If you think that's bad, he won't reward you. He won't reward you because you stopped killing those guys and you disputed his holy jihad, which, as we know, if this is to be believed, was never in any doubt. And should actually be completed already, but it's not Allah's fault that it's not completed already. It's your fault, O Muslims. You aren't killing enough Jews, and you're not doing it quick enough. So get on your knees and worship him and get the holy jihad on the go. Otherwise, he won't love you. That's what that means. Then he carries on. He sees where you do disobey. He will destroy what you love. Obviously, his grace and wisdom and mercy, the loving, kindly nature of Allah, the creative God who knows all, is put aside for a minute while he sees you disobeying his commands. If you do anything outside of this book, or you have any thoughts he hasn't told you to have, not only will he send you to the everfire and punish you, he will destroy what you love. So you're not allowed to love anything apart from what he tells you to. You're not allowed to do anything that he hasn't told you to do. You're not even allowed to have thoughts or emotions that he hasn't told you to do. And if you dare to do any of that stuff, i.e. being a human being, he will destroy the things you love. Which, by the way, he's already told you. He's telling you what you love in here. But he's all-powerful, merciful, wise, graceful, and kind. Of course, that's what a graceful, wise, merciful guy would do. Destroy the things you love because you're not killing people. Look, I didn't write it. Allah wrote it. I'm just reading it to you. If you don't believe me, buy and read and translate one of these. And you can marvel at the illiterate stupidity of the... I won't swear, that guy. He's not a good guy. I'll carry on. Some love mundane things, but others you know well to love the hereafter better. So what he's saying here, O Muslims, if you love mundane things, i.e. things in the world now, you know, if you like music or watching movies or hanging out with your friends, if you like sunny days or fishing or watching the football, if you like enjoying sports or going for a walk with your family, if you like success in your job, oh no, those things are bad. Those who know better know those things are bad, and what they really love is being a martyr, dying and going to the hereafter. That's what the goal is here, O Muslims. The end times genocidal prophecy. If you're not doing the end times genocidal prophecy, well, just what are you doing? That's what Allah means. Your worry is but a test from Allah. Let me get this right, Allah. People having worries and having crap lives and being in poverty and having to slave away for you and kill people and be living in sin and commit gross acts of indecency like we saw in the last episode. That's just a test from you, is it, O Allah? Because I swear what you actually said before is that you predetermine everything in life, that you write everybody's journey through life and pathway to end up with you. You mind control the non-believers to be doing what we're doing, so this is all your will, and you guide the Muslims for what they're doing. So if you're doing all that, Allah, why do you need to test them? Surely you wouldn't need to test them if that was all set in stone and predetermined like you prophesied. So either your prophecies are not true, as what I think, you're just making it up as you go along to try and trick and brainwash your poor old Muslims into doing your dirty work for you since you are unable, or you're testing them because you already know and you just need to reconfirm what you already know via these tests, which you already know how they're going to conclude anyway if you know all things. So you're wasting your own time here, Allah, and you're wasting the time of your Muslims. That's what this means. Then he finishes off. Indeed, you are pardoned if you lift your sword for him. Pardon for what, Allah? You just told me everything that is happening is your plan, you know, mind control for us and secret agent Allah for the Muslims. You're testing them to make sure that they're still doing it despite the fact that they don't have free will. So what are you pardoning them for? You've said they're allowed to do this. You're telling them to do it. They're not allowed to do anything outside. I get it. The unsaid bit here that Allah is not telling you is indeed you are pardoned if you lift your sword for him, because many Muslims are deciding not to do this. Many Muslims don't think that the end times genocidal prophecy via a holy jihad is the thing to do in their lives, and that is the reason why Allah is saying, indeed you are pardoned if you lift your sword for him, if being the important word. Because it is not preordained. It is not predetermined. He is not mind controlling us. He is not guiding you, O Muslims. You have free will to choose to do this, or to tell him to get screwed, which is what you should be doing. And then he finishes off the verse by saying, Allah owns a wondrous reward for you, O faithful Muslims. He's stringing you along, isn't he? You'll get the faithful reward if you kill everybody else, and then after you die, you will get your wondrous reward, O Muslims. Unlike us evil non-believers who are mind-controlled into sin, we get our reward now. And the worst thing Allah can do is send his worst demon to come and kill me and give me a black eye. That's literally all he was able to do to me after me spending 2.5, nearly 3 months every single day doing nothing but reading his book and telling you what's in here so that you know this is nonsense. Think about that, O Muslims. You have to go and kill yourself for no reward and then get your reward after you've killed all the Jews. So technically, if you die before I die, then you won't get your reward until all the Jews, including me, are dead. So you don't get any reward. You're just hanging around as a spirit waiting for this paradise to happen for like God knows how many centuries or whatever. But I get my reward now, while I'm alive. And even though Allah sends his worst demons to come and kill me, the worst I get is a bang on the head and a black eye. But I still get my wondrous life reward. I still get money and bitches and fun and victory and success. But anyway, Allah owns the wondrous reward. I have stolen it from him. Or is he mind controlling me to have it so that he can later lead me to defeat? Like he claimed in the last one. Who knows? The point for you, O faithful Muslims, is he's lying to you. The reason why you're not getting your reward now is because your life is devoted to this, which there's no reward in doing. And the reason I am getting my reward now, why I have all this wondrous stuff, a lovely flat loads of money, friends, family and women, is because I am not doing Allah's bidding, I'm actually doing my own bidding. My life is mine, I command myself. And that is, O Muslim, what you should consider doing. And turning your back on this maniac, because he hates you. 153. When you're alone in battle, only Muhammad was behind you, and he rewards you constantly with sorrows, so that you can forget your whims, and go into battle without worry for what happens to you. Allah knows better than you. End of verse. So if we break this down, Allah knows well that when he's sending you off to do this holy jihad and not do anything else, you're going to end up with very few actual friends. Other Muslims who are only there because you're fighting the jihad with them, they're not friends. And you know this because if you stop fighting the jihad and leave Islam, will they still like you? Absolutely not. They will want to kill you. They are not your friends, Muslims. They are your they're your brothers in slavery. As we know, if you leave Islam, they will not like you anymore. So that is why Allah is saying when you are alone in battle, i.e., always, only Muhammad is behind you. And he constantly rewards you with sorrows. So Allah is trying to explain away why you feel crap all the time, why you live in poverty and why you feel sorrow. And how he's explaining that away to you is Muhammad is behind you, making you feel sorrow because you aren't committed to his holy jihad enough. You're not worshipping him enough. Even though you are and you have been for your whole life, it's not good enough for him. The only thing that's good enough for him, O Muslims, is if you die in the service of his holy jihad and then all the Jews get killed. Religion of peace? I think not. Then he finishes off by saying, you get these sorrows constantly from Muhammad so that you can forget your own whims and go to battle without worry for what happens to you. So you're not supposed to care about your own safety. You're supposed to be a mindless Allah robot that runs into battle like a lemming and gets killed. And then after you get killed, good Muslim, yeah, we'll give you your 72 virgins now. Apart from all the Jews have to die first, so you won't. This is Allah revealing to you in his own stupid, illiterate way that you won't get any reward, that you are throwing your life away, that you are going to feel sorrow because of the things that you're doing, and the only reason you're doing them is because Allah is behind you cracking the whip. But you could at any point tell Allah to get lost and go and do something that you want to do that's rewarding now, that will end up with you having a good life and then going to God's paradise, not the one deep below the earth where there's skulls hanging on the walls. The one up above in heaven, which is a loving, beautiful paradise where everyone gets along and there isn't any skulls on the wall. That's what this means. And then that takes us to our last verse, which is a little bit longer than usual, so we'll spend some time on this one, but it's very important that we understand what Allah is trying to say here. 154. After your sorrows, Allah will grant you sleep, and He sent to you a group among you who did only stir for their own passions, and you thought, is this a worthy thing? But they were ignorant of the truth, so what you say to them is, only Allah's plan does matter for ye. They will not admit their ignorance to you. They say, if not a gain for them, they would not even be there to fight. Say to them, you would not even serve to be in your houses before now. Without Allah to protect you, after that affair, you would certainly be immediately to death. Allah constantly tests our hearts, for He knows only too well who is pure and who is not. End of verse, end of reading. Now, far be it from me, Muslims, to suggest that perhaps you haven't really thought this through. Neither has he. But I will advise you, just a friendly bit of guidance here from me, is try and think this through and figure out that this proves and demonstrates that that guy, A, is talking nonsense, B, fucking hates your guts. Apologies for swearing, I forgot. After sorrows, i.e. the sorrows that you're going to have to go through to be a Muslim, all the stuff you're missing out on, all the poverty and the suffering you're going to have to go through, just so you can get killed in the holy jihad and go to His paradise, which sounds horrible. After that sorrow, Allah will grant you sleep. It's not that you're going to fall asleep because you're tired and your heart's heavy from all the sorrow like a normal human being. No, it's because Allah is making you fall asleep. And He sent to you a group among you who did only stir for their own passions, and you thought, is this a worthy thing? Now what He's talking about there, O Muslims, is people who have far more intelligence and common sense and logic than the guys He's talking about here, i.e. His Muslims. Some of you have doubts. Some of you, while you're doing this holy jihad planning, are secretly thinking, is this actually a worthy thing? Why are we throwing our lives away for this guy? Why do we want to kill everybody else when we could just live alongside everyone else, not kill them, have aspirations in our lives to do well, be wealthy and happy? Why don't we just do that? But no. They're ignorant of the truth. They don't realise that having a good life, everyone else on the planet is just ignorant. It's only you little small group of Muslims that are knowing the truth. Everyone else is just dumb and stupid and evil. We know this because Allah tells us in His book, and if you don't believe Him, you know what's going to happen to you. Only it doesn't. Other Muslims have to do it. So He's clearly talking rubbish. And then He goes on to say, these ignorant guys who are part of your group now, other Muslims who are having doubts, this is what you say to them. Only Allah's plan does matter for you. So having doubts and wishing you had a better life and wanting aspirational goals of education, wealth and joy, having a good family life, being worth something, being remembered in history as a great figure, no, that's not worth anything. Only Allah's plan to kill the Jews is worth something. Only Allah's plan does matter for ye. They will not admit their ignorance to you. They say, if not a gain for them, they would not even be there to fight. And then you have to say to them, you would not even survive in your houses before now without Allah to protect you. After which you would certainly immediately die. Think about that. Allah is saying, these guys who are doing really well in their lives, they're selfish to want that. There's no gain in what they're doing because they're not killing Jews for Allah and getting themselves martyred. So what you should be saying to them is this. You would be dead right now if it wasn't for Allah. Even though He's telling you to go and kill yourself for Allah, if you don't go and kill yourself for Allah, you would be dead right now, even though you're alive. This is the most nonsensical trash I've ever read. Not just in the Holy Book. Out of all the hundreds of books I've ever read, this is the most nonsensical, illogical crap that I have ever laid eyes on. Come on, Muslims, you're intelligent people. Think it through. I know you won't be worshipping Him enough if you have questions and doubts, but that is humanity. We are intelligent. We have questions, we have doubts, and that leads us to the truth, which unfortunately is not this. This is complete nonsense. You would not even survive to be in your houses before now without Allah to protect you. Your affairs would certainly be immediate death. Allah constantly tests our hearts. See, He's saying once again, even though He's predetermined everything, even though He mind controls us and He guides you and everything's set in stone and He wrote everyone's path, He constantly has to test you. So what he's doing there, O Muslims, he's trying to explain away why your life's not going so well as a test from Allah. Like me, that guy that tried to kill me the other day, that was just a test from Allah, was it? It wasn't a very good test, because all it did was motivate me to do more and do better work and laugh in the face of Allah and his fake prophecies. This stupid holy jihad that's going to get all his guys killed while we survive and have great lives. Then he finishes off. For he knows only too well who is pure and who is not. That's what this comes down to, is it, Allah? The whole point in your test, the whole point in the sorrows for your Muslims, the whole point in wrecking everyone's lives and pitting man against man, and I quote you as saying you will give the infidels no peace, but you don't give your Muslims any peace. So the entire endeavour of making nobody have peace, everyone has to be at war, constantly killing each other in sorrow, in poverty. The entire point of this is so that you can know who is pure and who is not. Despite you said at the beginning you created everyone and you knew their hearts before you created them. So either, Allah, you knew before they were born whether they were pure or not and then predetermined their life based on that, or what you're saying now is true and you didn't know and you're constantly having to test us so you can figure it out. You can't have your cake and eat it, Allah. You just cannot. Allah! Allah, come over here a minute. Are you hungry? You can't have your cake and eat it, but if you're hungry, just let me know. I'll get you, like, some bacon or something like that, you know. He's still cranky. We'll leave him. Your dinner's in the microwave. You know, your bacon sandwich. So that is the end of this video. Hopefully I have summarised perfectly what this page of nonsense is saying to you, O Muslims. It's saying whether you're having a good life or not doesn't matter, as long as you're willing to go and do the holy jihad and kill the Jews. After you've had a horrible sinful life and then died, then you shall have your reward. And the fact that you're feeling sorrows and pain and grief, despite the fact that Allah promised that you would never have those feelings, it's just a test from Allah so he can figure out in his grace and mercy whether you're worshipping him enough. Which you are not, so get down there and do the holy jihad or he'll burn you forever. And that's the end of this video. So I hope you enjoyed that and you learned something. God bless, have a good evening, and I will see you in the next one. Bye now. But seriously though, O Muslims, you have to wake up to this at some point in your lives. Obviously, Islam is nonsense. Anyway, that's all for tonight. I'll be back at 7:15 tomorrow AM. Until then, have a lovely evening. God bless you all. And I'll see you, lovely people, in the next one. Bye now. Bye.